Welcome to Behind the Sermon. I'm Sean Abrams, and I'm joined today by Pastor Steve Hartland. So give us those main points from last Sunday's sermon.
The sermon was about the holiness of God, and here's what I wanted to get across. Most of us have a view that's too small of what the holiness of God is. We think, oh, that's about God is without sin. Holiness is being sinless, so it's about God being without sin. However, the holiness of God is really much larger than that. It's a much broader topic. God is actually holy or set apart or different or unique or transcendent in everything that he is. So for example, he's holy in justice. There's no other justice like his. He's holy in wisdom. There's no other wisdom like his. He's holy in everything that he is. All of his attributes, all of his characteristics, he's holy. So being separate from sin is one way that God is holy, but it's only one way. And what we really ought to come away from with the holiness of God is this. He's amazing. He's so big. He's so transcendent. He's so high above us. And we can walk around in the amazement of that. So that's what I was trying to get across.
Very cool. So was there anything that inspired this sermon, or where'd you get the idea?
Yeah, there definitely was something that inspired it. So just before this, we did a series in the book of Revelation. It was 9 weeks in that book, but I spent months getting ready for it, and then obviously a couple of months doing it. And that entire time, I was really getting rocked by the holiness of God, the immensity of God, the sovereignty of God. So those things were really weighing on me, but especially in the throne room chapters 4 and 5, where you have the seraphim saying, holy, 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 and God is there on his throne and so on. That really rocked me, and I kind of lived in that for months and made me think, I really want to preach on this. I think we need to hear more about that. I think it would do us some good as a church. It's a foundational truth, the holiness of God. So it really grew out of that Revelation series. It also grew out of the fact that while preaching through the book of Revelation, somebody in our church here gave me a book. It's a copy of the brand new biography of the life of R.C. Sproul. And he was a champion of the holiness of God. Like if you asked him, what's your ministry about? It was about, I want people to understand the holiness of God. His most famous book is The Holiness of God. So the R.C. Sproul influence came in here too and made me think, man, I need to do some preaching on God's attributes and God's holiness in particular. So that's kind of where it came from.
Okay, so we're all curious, right? And still the beans, Pastor. What's coming up this next Sunday service?
If I tell you, will you still come?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course we'll come, right?
All right,
Yeah,
I hope so.
tell us.
So it's going to be about, I don't want to just say this because you'll go, oh, and you'll assume something else. It's about kids. It's titled Kids. But here's what it's really about. I don't know if we as a church sufficiently understand what an amazing opportunity we have to lead a lot of people to saving faith in Jesus Christ in our kids. I'm going to try and make this point in the sermon this Sunday, and it's going to be a couple sermons. I'm going to try and make this point. The most fruitful ground, the most low-lying fruit available to us for evangelism is actually our kids. And so we as a church need to really be excited about, be interested in, care about leading our kids to Christ. So it's not like you're single, you don't have kids, or
this is true, guilty as charged.
You have an empty nest, your kids grew up and left you, like, good, finally, done with that. I'm never messing with kids again. No, it ought to be like, there's kids in this church. I want to be in their life. I want to love them. I want to help their parents lead them to Christ. So it's about kids. It's to up our understanding of the amazing fact that we have kids in our midst and we get to lead them to Christ.
That sounds powerful.
That's what it is.
I'll be there. I'm going to see it in person.
All right. Good.
Sounds good, Pastor. All right, this has been another Behind the Sermon. Thanks, Pastor Steve.
Pleasure.
See you on the next one.
All right.